Howdy folks, for today's video we are once again re-experimenting with Velomachus and Invoke Justice, but this time instead of a red-white best-of-1 version, we are looking at a best-of-3 version that is playing blue. So the big reason that this is possible is that we get to replace Unexpected Windfall with Key to the Archive, which still nets 2 mana and gives us a discard outlet for our Velomachus and our, in this case, Jin-Gitaxias. Jin-Gitaxias is one of the big reasons that I think blue-white can get a little more reliable than the red-white version. And the reason for that is simply you have more things you can hit to discard and then reanimate with Invoke Justice. Between Silundi Vision and Faithful Mending, I tend to find it easier to top deck Invoke Justice than to top deck the creatures. So finding the creatures first tends to be a priority. The reason for that is just that Invoke Justice doesn't require you to do anything other than cast it when you top deck it, whereas once you top deck the creature, you need to find the time and the mana and the card necessary to discard it, and then you can cast Invoke Justice. So getting to play 6 big 7-drops that you want to reanimate really adds a lot of consistency to the deck. And because Key to the Archive fixes your mana for the red portion of Velomachus and the double blue portion of Jin-Gitaxias, you get to just cast those pretty much trivially on turn 5 if you played Key to the Archives on turn 4 and didn't discard them because you didn't necessarily have an Invoke Justice already. The nice thing about both of the 7-drops that you're ramping into in this deck are that they pay off the same spells. Both of them, at least with Invoke Justice on Velomachus pumping its power, synergize with A-Alrund's Epiphany and with Emeria's Call. With Jin-Gitaxias, you're either making 4/4/4 Angels and making Jin-Gitaxias indestructible, or you're taking 2 extra turns, both of which are pretty great, and Velomachus does Velomachus things with Epiphany and Emeria's Call and Divine Purge. Still pretty great. The remainder of this deck replaces the red-white filtration and early game interaction with Faithful Mending and Divide by Zero. Divide by Zero actually has a mood on it that lets you loot, which is easy to forget about, but if on curve you're already looking at a hand that's stellar and you just need a way to discard Invoke Justice or discard Velomachus so you can get it back with Invoke Justice, then Divide by Zero does the job perfectly, and when that's not what you're doing, you still have the usual package of environmental sciences, teachings of the Archaic, and Mascot Exhibition to try to gain some advantage in the long run. Additionally, you get to play Silundi Vision as a land that helps you find Invoke Justice, which can curve nicely if you've already faithfully mending to discard one of your 7-drops for consistency. Now, moving on to the sideboard in this deck. This was an attempt to take the deck to best of 3, which I said the red-white version wasn't really capable of because it just didn't have a viable sideboard plan against control. This deck does actually get to have a more meaningful sideboard plan against control because you get to board into 4 Malevolent Hermits and 3 Wedding Announcements and 2 Wandering Emperors in addition to the 1 Wandering Emperor in the main deck, which lets you remove a lot of the Divine Purges, a lot of the kind of more vulnerable to counterspell 2-for-1 style stuff like Faithful Mending and some of your top end, and just play more of a hope that the opponent doesn't have super efficient sweepers and that you kind of just can aggro them out game plan, which works more often than red-white's post-board plan of never. So in a lot of ways, this deck actually winds up post-board against control very similar to just a control mirror, almost, although it does wind up with fewer counterspells than control decks would typically like to have. Meanwhile, to shore up its matchup against aggro, your best game plan against aggro still remains just doing your combo. It is pretty weak to mono-white. Thalia and Raidane in particular really punish this deck because not only does Thalia make Invoke Justice into a 6-mana spell, but if you want to cast a free spell off your 6-mana Velomachus, you still have to pay the extra 1, which means instead of Invoke Justice being a 5-mana combo, it's a 7-mana combo, while mono-white's already trying to kill you. And Raidane is the same problem except doubled, So now it's a 9-mana combo, and you're not going to pull that off before they kill you. So we have cards like Wedding Announcement, Wandering Emperor, and Sunset Revelry to try to buy us more time against mono-white, and combined with cutting a bunch of the A-Alrund's Epiphanies and the Jin-Gitaxias give a post-board plan that kind of lets you try to play a board wipe, Wandering Emperor, Divide by Zero value plan that can get around to hard casting Velomachus without, like, insane luck. Maybe some luck, but mostly, mono-white and control still not the matchups you really want to play against, but there's a sideboard plan that makes those matchups functional, and the more linear discard decks like Rakdos that tend to be the most popular decks are still really bad against this, which makes me kind of satisfied with where it's at in the metagame. Finally, I do want to give a little bit of credit and thank you to Deninja, who reached out to me after the red-white video and helped work on this blue-white version that I think wound up probably feeling a lot better than the red-white version that I was originally working with. So, kudos to them. Alrighty, let's tweak that number, and we are good to go. Whoa, wow, this is a weird time of the month to have gotten paired up against somebody in Platinum, but okie dokie. Do we want a hand that is very bad, except it has Divide by Zero and Velomachus? Sure. Reading things in detail is not something an MTG player would do. Yeah, it is out of my wheelhouse to read things and know what they do. Do I want to play Jwari Disruption on 2? No. I think I actually probably want to play Forsaken Crossroads on 2. Probably on white. Duress? Well, that takes my Divide by Zero, I guess. Alright. I will accept having a Divide by Zero. Am I truly willing to play my second of 8 red sources for the purpose of casting Velomachus? Or do I name this on red and potentially leave myself without the 4th white source? Because this island also... I should probably name it on red. Alright, well there's the Invoke Justice. Like, that's good, but I do lack a 4th white source. I guess I can fix that by... Oh, no, I can't, because I'm actually probably going to need to Divide by Zero, looting away the Velomachus. Yeah, I'm so incredibly instantly punished for this Forsaken Crossroads. Nighthawk Scavenger. Rude. Okay, I actually think that I'm going to leave that for the time being. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Emeria's Call. Alright. And we are just going to play that as a land. I don't necessarily need to, because I don't think 3 life will matter. I don't want them to have a Death Touch blocker for Velomachus, so I'm going to wait to end of turn, Divide by Zero. 4 mana available. Hopefully that's not going to be an instant speed spell. We are going to discard Velomachus to Divide by Zero. Alright, opponent, I could just do nothing here, I suppose. The trouble with doing nothing is my opponent's already demonstrated having hand hate, and my hand is pretty awful if I get Invoke Justice Duressed. Oh, cool, they didn't have it. Alright, I would love to take an extra turn. Cool, we get to take an extra turn. Okay, well, I guess they didn't have anything. Alright, well, Divine Purge is going to be great at answering Nighthawk Scavenger, so let's go ahead and swing with Velomachus again. See if we hit an extra turn spell and win the game instantly. We do. Okay, cool. I do like doing 27 damage. It greatly simplifies the game. 5-mana sorcery that does 27 damage to your opponent's face is pretty wonderful. I am not going to lie. Now let's see, where do we go from here? I really don't know what my opponent's Mardu deck is doing. One of the flaws of this deck is that it wins so good that sometimes you don't know how to sideboard. Divine Purge certainly looked good. What is this? It's a 2-drop that they want to sacrifice. That they draw a card. I see. I could just refuse to do anything. I refuse to do anything. We are going to change absolutely nothing about the deck. Some sort of Mardu Aristocrats? Maybe? It's a tiny bit unclear. Alright, so we got duplicate copies of Invoke Justice. That's not bad. I do want more lands, probably. Although I also want to draw a discard outlet and something worth discarding. Howdy Waddly. Eat's going pretty good thus far. Okay, so we have Reckless Impulsed, a land, and an Adult Gold Dragon away. Very well. I do not need the third Invoke Justice. This I am quite confident in. Alright, so we're going to get to Silundi Vision now that we have a 5th land, which unfortunately can't actually find us a Reanimate target, ironically. It can, however, find us Faithful Mending, which is a pretty good card to have here. Do I want to play the Hengegate on white and have access to a red source in Needleverge Pathway? Or would I rather play Needleverge on white so that I can have the second blue to cast A-Alrund's Epiphany with Hengegates? I think I actually play Hengegate on blue this turn, because these are both on white. That actually lets me Faithful Mending on my opponent's turn, and then... I wonder if I should actually foretell A-Alrund's Epiphany. Because if I Faithful Mending into another Faithful Mending, I do want to cast Faithful Mending. I could Sorcery Speed the Faithful Mending, but that exposes me to go blanks. I don't think that I'm supposed to foretell A-Alrund's Epiphany. Perhaps we will see whether that winds up being the case. Alright, opponent's got a Relic Robber, which is not the biggest deal because it kind of gets invalidated by Divine Purge, cleaning up the goblin tokens that it gives us. Sweet. Alright, well, let's discard Velomachus and A-Alrund's Epiphany. And then we're going to take some damage. Wow, I drew the third A-Alrund's Epiphany already. And we're just going to Invoke Justice back this Velomachus and hope the opponent doesn't have a 2-mana removal spell. Probably not going to take an extra turn here. We are not. But we do get to divide by 0 Relic Robber. And get a... I guess an Environmental Sciences? Yeah, that works. We can discard it to Key to the Archives. Sorcery Speed removal spell on our Velomachus actually exiles it. That's fairly annoying. Alright, we take a little bit of damage off Goblin Constructs. Regrettably. We do not really have anything to Invoke Justice back, unfortunately. We can Environmental Sciences, we get a white source, play our land, play Key to the Archives. What does Key to the Archives find? It finds... Regrowth, I guess? Huh. But I don't actually have anything meaningful to discard anyway. I guess I have an A-Alrund's Epiphany in the graveyard. Let's go ahead and get rid of Invoke Justice for now. Oh, these can attack? Oh, they just can't block. Oh, I wonder how close I was to lethal then. 5, 6... No, I needed one more land before I had anything decent lethally. Doot, doot, doot. Okay, so let's see. I believe what I want to do is set up for lethal next turn. I guess I have to avoid dying this turn too, though? Okay, so what if I were to Divine Purge and then foretell 2 A-Alrund's Epiphanies? I believe that is my game plan here. And then I'm going to try to win with a bunch of birds. I do need Liesa to be tapped in order to pull that off, but I think we can probably manage that. There's a possibility I'm not supposed to play this Emeria's Call, but I think there's a pretty strong chance that I want the additional mana. Alright, so they have the Tyrant here. I hope they don't exile Epiphany. They probably will. Oh, they might go for Faithful Mending. Yeah, they do go for Faithful Mending. Okay, sweet. I'm assuming I can probably win the game here, then. Land isn't strictly helpful, but is fine. Alright. You take an extra turn, make some birds, grab an A-Alrund Epiphany. We play an A-Alrund's Epiphany, make some birds, foretell an A-Alrund's Epiphany. Swing with some birds. Cast an A-Alrund's Epiphany, make some birds, swing with some birds. Go to our turn. I can't play Invoke Justice because I need a permanent in my graveyard. Oh. Well, that's awkward. Okay. I did not properly account for that. Well, I guess I could just get Lightning Helix, so that works. Alright, thank you for bailing me out, deck. I think the opponent was at like 24. The poor thing. Oh. Oh. I think this is keepable just on the strength of turn 1 Silundi Vision, turn 2 White Source, Faithful Mending. But that game was an example of, like, we were casting 9 mana turn later A-Alrund's Epiphanies. The opponent had to do a lot of nothing for that to be good for us. Yeah, drawing the Shajiri Shelter last game did still give us an out, because we could block the flyer with our bird token and then give a protection so they didn't gain life. But it would have given them an out that I wouldn't have been a fan of. No! Archon of Emeria is so good against us. I mean, I guess it's not good against, like, Divine Purge, though? Do I want this other Faithful Mending? I don't think I want this other Faithful Mending. I think discarding the Faithful Mending is, like, actively something I'm excited to do. Right, it wasn't, because that's entering tapped, because it's a... not a basic. Right, awkward. Okay. Do I foretell A-Alrund's Epiphany? I don't think so, because I think A-Alrund's Epiphany is probably a card that I want to discard to Faithful Mending. Okay, missing land drops sucks. Do I want a Divine Purge? No, my opponent's going to Wandering Emperor. Oh, okay. Alright, we're going to get Environmental Sciences. This missed land drop probably means I can't win now. The fact that they sorcery speeded this Emperor and then immediately down-ticked it does play really well into my Divine Purge, so I would love to just draw lands. No. Yeah, I can't win this. I probably just can't beat Faceless Haven. Divide and Cycle for the land? Yeah, maybe that was better. That might have been better than just going for the environmental sciences.
We must protect the people.
Raidane? Yeah, okay. Okay. Not going to happen. So against mono white... Is Wedding Announcement good? I don't know. Wandering Emperor is. Jin-Gitaxias is not. Sunset Revelry is good. Am I supposed to have a plan where I just totally board out of Invoke Justice and Key to the Archives against mono white? I don't know that I even can do that successfully. Especially when most of their creatures are flyers? How's this deck's red-black matchup? Presumably pretty good, but it would depend on how much instant speed removal they play and if they play correctly. I assume I'm probably just supposed to pretty much cut the A-Alrund's Epiphany idea here. I don't need to entirely cut it, but I'm probably just supposed to mostly cut it. Wedding Announcement doesn't feel good with Divine Purge. I guess I can play one A-Alrund's Epiphany, maybe? That's probably a bad idea. The nice thing about Gobelink and Trespasser is if you know you're playing against that, this deck can kind of play around it nicely by just not discarding your Reanimate spell until the end of the turn, on their turn. This is pretty bad, but okay. Having two blue sources kind of sucks. I don't really... I probably do want Faithful Mending. I basically lose if the opponent has Thalia. Unfortunately, the opponent has Thalia. I think I'm supposed to Sunset Revelry here. Unfortunately, that doesn't really accomplish anything for the time being other than making some chump blockers for later and gaining us a bit of life. Spellbinder takes Invoke Justice. Might take Divide by 0. Actually, probably best off taking Faithful Mending, come to think of it. Cool, drew the A-Alrund's Epiphany. Absolutely not what we wanted to draw. Wait, no, this one. Okay, so the lack of white sources is awkward, for sure. I could chump block here to gain 5 life. The trouble with doing that is it screams pretty hard that I have Divine Purge, and I kind of need them to try to play out into the board. Inquisitor Captain is a really bad way for them to play out into the board from me. Yeah, and unfortunately we're missing land drops again, which means we do lose. Especially when my mana base is already bad on 4 mana. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, we are pretty reliant on filtering, and Thalion 2 just mostly beats us. Okay. Once again, I really should have cut these Jwari Disruptions. Somebody help remind me, after these games are getting close to ending, that I need to, like, cut these tap lands. Alright, now we're gonna go with white and scry. Because I'm not even leaving up the mana to cast Jwari Disruption on 2, like, ever. Thanks, Miniature Catfish. I appreciate it. Okay. Now let's just play this now. So currently I can go turn 3 Divine Purge, turn 4 Key to the Archives. No, don't play Commune with Spirits. Play a 2-drop. Play a 2-drop. Play a 2-drop. Creature, 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 creature. Thank you. Whee! Divine Purge is good. More Jukai Naturalists. Such cost reduction. Goodness gracious. Alright, well, unfortunately I think I gotta let my opponent have a Jukai Naturalist here. I'm pretty sure that playing Key to the Archives is better. I believe I would probably like to get rid of Faithful Mending on account of flashing it back is card neutral and casting it is card disadvantage. But also 2 Time Walks feels like a good spot to be. Now we just need to draw and then hard cast Jin-Gitaxias so I can take 4 extra turns. Showdown of the Skulls is not entertaining, so I could Time Warp here. I'm assuming I probably don't want to do that, so let's just bounce their cost reduction, get Teachings of the Archaic, play Emeria's Call as a land? Actually, let's go ahead and Faithful Mending now to get more information about what I want to do with my lands. Oh yeah, I definitely want to get rid of Island. Is there any advantage to having Emeria's Call in the graveyard? I don't know. I guess there might be a chance that I want to just cast Emeria's Call. 3 life. Unclear if that's going to matter or not. Let's hold off on it for the time being. So I can Time Warp myself for A-Alrund's Epiphany, and then on the next turn, Teachings of the Archaic, probably. Invoke Justice, but all I have is lands in the graveyard. Alright, let's go ahead and Time Warp. Let's go ahead and for A-Alrund's Epiphany. Let's go ahead and make that land drop. I want to have fewer cards in hand for Teachings of the Archaic. Oh, I don't have a discard outlet for Velomachus. No. I'm probably still supposed to play Velomachus. That's mostly just a good magic card. Yeah, okay. Invoke Justice, putting 4 counters on Velomachus, getting a land back into play would have been really amusing. Alright, let's see. So Fateful Absence and Wandering Emperor are pretty good against runes. My opponent conceding is pretty good for my win rate, I guess. Okay. Deserted Beach. I wish you were Tranquil Cove. I think this one island is now... No, we have 2 more lands that are mono blue spells, don't we? So we're not in a position where I've drawn the only mono blue card. But we have Faithful Mending that gets to ditch A-Alrund's Epiphany, and then hopefully also a fancy permanent. Rabbit Battery. Oh no. Is Rabbit Battery good against Divine Purge or bad? I'm not completely sure. It's probably not, like, good, but maybe it's not bad either. Could be both. So Rabbit Battery enters tapped, yes, but if you reconfigure Rabbit Battery, even while it's tapped, then the tapped doesn't matter, right? If you're willing to spend 4 mana to give a creature haste and +1/+1. I'm not super scared of this Valkyrie, if I'm being entirely honest. Let's go ahead and Faithful Mending. Do I want to discard Silundi Vision? Probably. I mean, I could cast it. I probably don't want to cast it. Key to the Archive? Cool. That does seem like probably a good card. Should I just Divine Purge these two away instead of holding up Fateful Absence? I guess if they don't do anything that I Fateful Absence, then I just cast Faithful Mending instead, which is like, you know, actively a looting effect, which is pretty good for me in this position. Land. Rabbit Battery goes on Valky. Okay, that doesn't seem like it accomplishes anything. Successfully turned 3 damage into 3 damage. It is insulation against a board wipe, except it isn't insulation against Divine Purge. Because that still hits the Rabbit Battery because it's still an artifact, even if it's not a creature. Okay, let's see. Fateful Absence. I probably still need to have the Fateful Absence is the problem, huh? Because it does answer creature lands. I guess the Hive of the Eye Tyrant actually would have been pretty annoying against this Faithful Mending. No, because I could have held up Fateful Absence for the Hive if we drew into a creature that I wanted to discard. Let's see. I think I can get rid of 1 Divine Purge and 1 Emeria's Call? Maybe? Sure, why not? Alright, opponent, if you want to fire up Hive of the Eye Tyrant next turn, you are allowed to. Ooh, I would absolutely love an Electrolyze. What do I want to get rid of? Forsaken Crossroads, let's see. I'm on the draw, so you enter untapped, so you're just straight up better than Pathway. Well, that does not give our opponent a black source to animate Hive with. They do get to animate Den. Very well. So I'm assuming that I am just supposed to Divine Purge away my opponent's Rabbit Battery, the Valky, and the 1/1, and then hold up Electrolyze and Fateful Absence? Is that the goal? Yeah, probably. I think this is going to be the part where the opponent's surprised that the Rabbit Battery goes away. So now we can name this on red, and we can choose to scry, and I guess we can keep Wandering Emperor. It's like, fine. Am I actually just gonna like be a control deck for some reason this game? Oh no, our opponent has access to 9 mana Tibalt. We freed their Valky from its shackles. Oh, I love my opponent animating Den of the Bugbear. Wow. I would love to kill Den of the Bugbear and draw a card. Alright, well, your go, opponent. Feel free to do whatever you would like to do. Could I Invoke Justice something back? No, we have not yet found anything to put in the graveyard. I mean, I guess I could have Invoked Justice back a land. That's true. That's true. Rabbit Battery. Oh no. Rabbit Battery. Oh no. How am I ever supposed to answer a Rabbit Battery with a pair of tutus? Is Lightning Bolt not banned in Pioneer? Is Lightning Bolt legal in Pioneer?
Not overconfident. You're just underwhelming.
Was it an M14?
We must protect the people.
I don't believe it was an M15. Not legal. Okay. So not banned, no. But also not legal. Oh, right. Painful Bond is a card that exists. I forgot about that. Huh. Alright, well, let's just keep making tokens. I wonder if I'm supposed to hold lands at that point. The existence of looting effects is something that I'm really not used to playing around. This deck might be too hard for me. RTR is the first set, Legoland Pioneer. Is that true? Isn't the core set right before RTR legal? Or no? No, my Invoke Justice opponent. That's so mean. Rude. No, look at all these lands. Why is opponent so mean to me? Alright, at this point we're holding lands. I do not think that I have use for more mana at this point. Molten Impact? Alright, well, I would like to cycle my Wandering Impact, or Wandering Emperor.
Try not to miss me.
And in doing so, fizzle Molten Impact. Ooh, look at me, I'm so cute. Do I guess I don't have to double block the City Stalker Connoisseur unless they equip Rabbit Battery. Do I double block the City Stalker Connoisseur? Oh. Okay, opponent's empty-handed at this point, so I can look for Divide by Zero. Or I could draw more lands. That works too. Alright, well, I guess I'll take the damage. Yay! Velomachus, you're a real magic card. Wow, that's a lot of real magic cards. Okay, so I guess Divide by Zero makes me regret not playing these lands, but Faithful Mending would make me happy to have played the lands. I could also just Invoke Justice back Wandering Emperor, which is like probably the right thing to do.
Anyone who harms my people must contend with me.
Alright, proceed to blockers, opponent. Yeah, okay. Well, let's go ahead and play that, and then, like, I guess we're gonna get rid of the City Stalker Connoisseur.
You're done.
Definitely supposed to be playing lands, because I could hit Divide by Zero, which then goes and grabs Teachings of the Archaic. Earlier mistake. Okay, so RTR is actually the first legal set, then. Good to know. Not that I actually know what the sets before or after RTR block were. Other than, well, I guess I can assume now that they're M13 and M14 respectively. Bloodthirsty Adversary. Oh no. Fetching Molten Impact. Dealing 5 damage to something. Or I guess actually dealing 4 damage to this token and then pinging the Wandering Emperor for 1? Well, that's cute. Look at you. Alright, now you just need to not die to Velomachus, opponent. Did I talk about my feelings on the organized play in Arena? I did. Although, for the most part, my feelings are just, I think it's good. Let's see. Let's play with the opponent's emotions a little bit. Silundi Vision into Emeria's Call. And I'm going to take an extra turn. I was really hoping I could Silundi Vision into the A-Alrund's Epiphany. This works too. Opponent, you didn't even let me see if I was going to hit the third A-Alrund's Epiphany. Disappointing. But yeah, the Arena Organized play, I'm happy about. I was very much hoping that they would have an announcement with in-person arena tournaments with good production and a small field where they can focus on narratives in coverage. And although they didn't confirm that's the entire details of what the arena championships are going to be, it fits the bill, and I suspect that's what they're going to be. And then you can also just qualify for the Pro Tour at the same time, which is everything I wanted. I mean, more of the same would be good, but it's very much the right direction. Let's see. So, playing against green-black, aggro, low, dirtily stuffs. I'm assuming that I like don't really want Fateful Absence and I do want Wandering Emperors. I probably don't hate Jin-Gitaxias, so I think we keep Jin-Gitaxias. I do need one more cut, though. We'll just play 61 cards. It's probably fine. It's not. Missed what the threshold was to go from the Mythic Invitational Qualifier to the PT. You need 7 wins the day 2. Yep. Yep. So the exact same qualifications for how you get to the Pro Tour, or how you got to the Mythic Championships or the Pro Tours previously. This looks fine. Turn 1, take our scry. Do I want this Tranquil Cove? I would have loved to have drawn the Tranquil Cove this turn, but next turn I don't really want to draw it. So this was on white, so we're going to want to play Hengegate on blue next turn. The cutoff is top 250 now, though? Right. So it is harder to qualify for the weekend, but once you are in the weekend, it is exactly as easy to go there, or qualify through that. Whatever the correct ordering of English words is to mean that thing that I'm trying to mean. So basically, there's going to be fewer participants in the weekend, but once you are in the weekend, it'll be the same. Target opponent discards a card. Then additionally may discard an additional card. Oh no! Okay, well, I'm going to discard Faithful Mending, because... Do I discard an additional card? No. I'm good. You can have one of my cards. As long as it's not divided by 0, that's fine by me. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of the expensive cards. Oh, no, I should have held on to one of those. Shoot. I should have gotten rid of a Pathway over the Emeria's Call, just because it protects me from losing Invoke Justice to City Stalker Connoisseur at the moment. City Stalker Connoisseur? Oh no. Anyway. I'm gonna go draw 2 cards and hope we draw Velomachus. We drew a Velomachus. Now, if the opponent's City Stalker Connoisseurs me and doesn't have a duress to follow up, we win. Probably. I didn't want to get Exhibition to protect Velomachus, or to protect Invoke Justice, because just casting a draw 2 against the discard deck is kind of fundamentally very strong that turn. No, opponent! You were supposed to play the City Stalker Connoisseur and loot my Velomachus away for me. No. How sad, how sad. Alright, opponent. Oh, wow, cool. This Faithful Mending is actually in their graveyard because they conjured it. That's cute. Oh yeah, just make a big dragon. Sweet! I win. Probably. Assuming that Velomachus hits anything remotely useful. I probably don't need 3 Divine Purges. Boop, boop. Alright, Velomachus, what do you hit? Time Warp? Time Warp! You want to chump block with your 5/5 opponent? You should probably chump block with your 5/5. No, doesn't want to chump block with the 5/5. Okay. Alright, well. Let's take an extra turn. And see if the opponent blocks. At this point, they should block because they know they're going to die to Velomachus next turn if they don't prevent... Like, they're forced to block next turn, so they might as well block this turn. But also I could just take like 2 more turns in a row. And then Divine Purge their blocker away. So that was what? 36 damage in 1 turn for 5 mana? More or less? Sort of. Alright, well... Oh, we definitely have to keep. I get to play Tranquil Cove on turn 1. Sweet. Now that's value. Well, I mean, we're definitely keeping Invoke Justice. I'm just a little concerned about my ability to make the mana function here. I would like to divide by 0 that, and probably loot away Velomachus here, I think. 2 chances to hit a land, and if I play Key to the Archive, I probably win. Or I could just take the guaranteed Environmental Sciences. I'm just going to loot away Velomachus and hope. Alright, well, Faithful Mending is sort of like a land. I should Silundi Vision because if I had tapped white land, like Forsaken Crossroads, I would rather play it than Silundi Vision. So I should Faithful Mending now. We don't, we hit an untapped white land, which is perfect. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get rid of A-Alrund's Epiphany then. Okay, so we get to Velomachus next turn. Can you do the weekend qualifier planes in as much as you want? No. I don't believe so. I think you have to get points to play in the weekend qualifier play-ins, and I don't remember how you get those points. But that does mean that there is a limit on the number of times you can do it. Alright, let's just Emeria's Call. I love having an indestructible Velomachus and a pile of 4/4s. Points just bypass the entry fee. Okay, so you can pay gold then. That's weird. That doesn't... If you can just enter as many times as you want, that does not guarantee that they will have their 32 players for the championship, does it? Okay, what were we playing against? Mono green? I assume that means I'm supposed to bring in Wandering Emperor and probably take out Jin-Gitaxias. Yeah, okay, whatever, that sounds good. They said on Reddit that if they have more than 32 players, they'll expand the event and prizes match. Yeah, but doesn't that give the potential for way more than 32 players? Like, couldn't that double the number of players up to like 64? I guess maybe that's still a reasonable number. But if that's the case, it makes it kind of weird. I guess 32 is like an idea of the rough magnitude as opposed to like 400 players. Only adds a single round. Yeah, I suppose so. But it changes the dynamics of coverage a pretty significant amount. I think that keeping the number of players to a reasonably low level that they can afford the resources to cover each player who qualifies is an important part of the tournament. I'm kind of tempted to keep. I'm going to keep. I don't know. What's the worst that could happen? Alright, drawing Invoke Justice is good. Should I have played Forsaken Crossroads on blue turn 1 and scryed rather than playing the Emeria? Maybe? Wow, this thing's a 3/4 that's immune to Divine Purge if they get to play on turn 2, huh? That's impressive. Wow. Oh, I guess it's a 2/3 normally. Okay, that's fair. Tenacious Pup. Causing to Mammoth. Just get rid of most of those big things. Then we get to divide by 0 the Forceful Cultivator. On their end of turn, discard Velomachus, hopefully hit an untapped land that is white. I guess I should actually divide by 0 at sorcery speed in case I hit a tap land, like Forsaken Crossroads. Oh no, what if they have Snakeskin Veil? Shoot. I actually kind of am forced to divide by 0 something on the stack to play around Snakeskin Veil, aren't I? Oh, okay, yeah, if you can only play the play-in once, that would solve all the problems. Like, you couldn't just re-queue. Please play something, don't just pass the turn, don't just pass the turn, don't just pass the turn. Thank you. Alright, Ranger class, go away. I would love to loot away a Velomachus. No! I really need to hit an untapped white source or we lose. On deck one time. Good work. Good job, deck. Oh gee, I wonder if my opponent has Snakeskin Veil with that pause that happened just then. Alright, what do we got? A-Alrund's Epiphany. Good enough for me. Okay, so they do think that you can enter multiple times. Yeah, I don't know how to expect that to work. Okay, so we don't kill the opponent, but we do get to Divine Purge, which is pretty strong here. Still good enough, huh, opponent? Still good enough? I'm so glad I played around that Snakeskin Veil. It was entirely better to sorcery speed the Divine Purge if I had not thought about Snakeskin Veil fizzling Divine Purge and how much worse that would have been for me. And then, like, it was equally easy to be tempted to divide by 0 on the opponent's end of turn instead of divide by 0ing the Ranger class, even though, like, divide by 0ing a Ranger class when they have 3 mana up is not good, but just needing to have the loot in that spot to have an out. I'm relatively pleased with that. Okay, we have a non-functional mana base, so we will keep. Oh, we're on the play? Goody. That's not going to exasperate this problem at all. Did they actually already announce what the next format, what format the next qualifier will be? I don't know. Green, white. Okay, well, if we draw a blue source, our hand was stellar. Having not drawn a blue source, we probably don't win this one. Something like Cinderclasm good enough? Certainly not in this deck. We don't have the mana to cast it. And it kind of requires a specific set of restrictions to be met for when it's actually good against mono white. It's not just good in a vacuum. No. Well, I don't think we're winning this one. So if we draw an untapped blue source, we can divide by 0 something, which if the opponent's hand is bad... Okay, Hollow Haunting's very bad. That's a good start. That's not very good. Okay. Let's see. Against runes. I want 2 Wandering Emperors. I probably don't care very much about Jin-Gitaxias. And I probably want Fateful Absence, and then I need to figure out one more cut. This is where I struggled last time, wasn't it? I think I just shipped 61 last time. Which probably isn't the correct decision. Probably ought to just ship a key. My game crashed. Thanks for the ball. Also Johnny Rock and Rollin', Clockwork and You. Apparently I don't have the volume turned up loud enough to notice that. Glad you're all enjoying the stream. Okay, this is functional. This is in fact 3 lands. Generous Visitor, oh no. Okay, so we're set up to Divine Purge on 3 if they play a 2-drop. Failing that, I could hold up Divide by 0 if I wanted to. Quite possible I want to. Rune of Sustenance on Generous Visitor, oh no. Okay, Wandering Emperor is cool. That card makes me happy. I think I'm probably just supposed to hold up Divide by 0 here. What you gonna do, opponent? I guess if the opponent only plays a creature, do I just not Divide by 0 at all? And then Divine Purge next turn? I guess I could actually just do literally nothing and play Key to the Archives? That might actually be the real correct thing to do. Set up to Divine Purge and Wandering Emperor on the same turn. Oh, I feel like I'm absolutely supposed to have Demonic Tutor in my deck. Huh. Am I supposed to get rid of a land here? Probably. They did basically put Standard in their Neon Dynasty set championship. Alchemy is pretty much Standard. Okay, so we can Divine Purge, and then hold up Divide by 0, I guess. If my opponent wants to play a bunch of auras to trigger Hollow Daunting, I'm fine with that. It doesn't seem like something that's good to me. I guess I probably should have played Demonic Tutor for yeah. I should have just played Demonic Tutor for Velomachus there. No. Jukai Naturalist back in hand. Get Teachings of the Archaic. This is why you gotta be careful about how you play your Rune of Speeds. You can get your card draw fizzled if your target gets removed in response. 2 cards in hand, huh? Alright, so I should Demonic Tutor for Velomachus. And then cast Divine Purge. And unfortunately I can't Teachings here, but that is for future turns. Big expensive Jukai Naturalist, sure. Opponent gets to play a land. Regrettable. Opponent gets to play a rune. Regrettable. I'm probably not going to lose by playing this Velomachus. That's the hope. Cool. Yeah, Divine Purge was the best possible hit. So I dig that. That is a 6-mana Jukai Naturalist. Sweet. Should have let the Rune Resolve to turn on Teachings. Yeah. That was an option, I guess. So by spending 6 mana to play the Jukai Naturalist, they're not emptying their hand to Teachings. Let's see. Let's see what Velomachus hits. Hits Invoke Justice, which returns a land and pumps Velomachus. More mana is cool. Let's play Wandering Emperor and Teachings to draw 2. Ooh, and Divide. Look at that, the land we just returned matters. Isn't that neat? Alright, well now we're just going to hold up Divide by 0, because we're allowed to. Opponent can probably concede here, I'm guessing. But maybe they try to do Rune of Speeds shenanigans. Kami of Transience. That's a very big 2-mana tapped creature. 4 mana tap, 2/2. I'm sorry, my bad. I probably should divide by 0 the Hollowed Haunting in response to that. But, oh well. Yeah, alright, that worked. We are flexing on the algebra students a little bit, huh? Is there a mathematical symbol or concept that represents something that was divided by 0? Kind of like how I is the square root of a negative number, something like that. It seems like the kind of thing somebody would have made up, but I would have never heard of. Well, alright game, if you're just going to hand it to me. Actually, dividing by 0 gives you nonsense. Yeah, I mean, I assume. But, like, square rooting -1 also gives you nonsense under certain definitions of how math works. So it wouldn't be unreasonable for there to be a cooler definition. If you don't get an interesting result, you should just change the system you're working under. Alright, well, I'm assuming I should just divide by 0 twice. Alright, opponent, how hard can you goldfish me? That's not very good goldfishing, opponent, I'm gonna be honest. I'm disappointed. Showdown of the Skalds is, like, absurdly slow. Alright, we're just going to divide by 0. This is sorcery speed. My hand, I would like to get rid of Velomachus. Dividing by 0 makes the entirety of math nonsense. If you're ever in a position where you're doing that, the situation is incorrect. Aw, come on. Surely we can figure out a cooler way to redefine math than that. It just seems like we're not really trying hard enough. I don't know. Let's get rid of Velomachus in case the opponent has some kind of graveyard hate. I doubt it, but, like, I don't know. Thing is, if you can't apply it to a problem, there's no need for a symbol. So all we have to do is invent a need and a symbol. Like, if we invent the need and get to make up the symbol, we could make a really cool symbol. Isn't most of science driven by the desire to be the first person to get to name something new, something very stupid and in-jokey to you? I thought that was how the entire, like, field of biology worked. I'm gonna take an extra turn here. That should be fun. I don't think the opponent goldfished very successfully this game. I would like to keep the Velomachus that's currently lethal. Cool. Yay. Turn 5 win. Our opponent played like 3 lifelink creatures and they still couldn't stop themselves from dying on turn 5. I love it. Don't think we're going to keep this. Doesn't have any lands. Those are important to me. Okay. Well, we can get rid of a Velomachus. You had a red-white version of this. Do you think blue-white is better? I think blue-white is mandatory if you want to play best of 3, because I think that the red-white version has no viable plan against control post-board in best of 3. I don't think I want Emeria's Call. The red-white version was actually in the Epiphany format. We were in fact playing Epiphany in the red-white version. But it does happen that the red-white version was in best of 1. Alright, well, Luminarch Aspirant is not super strong against Divine Purge. But that said, I think I'm supposed to Silundi Vision here to try to find a way to loot Velomachus away. Wow. This is a Naya deck trying to play Chaplain Bombs on turn 1? Aggressive. Rahilda, sure, exists. Do I want Faithful Mending over Divide by Zero? I guess probably. Oh, cool. Okay, well, If I knew we were going to immediately top deck Invoke Justice, I would have preferred the Divide by Zero. So the question is, do I just want a Faithful Mending at sorcery speed and let my opponent do all their nonsense and just put all my eggs in one Velomachus-shaped basket? Or would I prefer to Divine Purge and take things more slowly? I'm probably supposed to Divine Purge so that I don't just lose to Thalia. I think Faithful Mending is stronger and beats the opponent through almost any line other than Thalia or Reidane, but I believe I'm probably supposed to play around Thalia and Reidane. Alright, well, our opponent missing a land drop and not doing anything interactive was nice to see. A pile of Luminarch Aspirants is not interactive in any meaningful way. Do I bother even casting this Faithful Mending? I guess it doesn't hurt. Yep, we draw 2 cards and then immediately discard them. But we gained 2 life, so I suppose it isn't nothing. Let's play the do we win the game instantly game. We don't really get to play the do we win the game instantly game if the opponent just concedes, unfortunately. However, so Jin gone, A-Alrund's Epiphany gone, Wandering Emperor's in, Sunset Revelry's in, Fateful Absence in, Wedding Announcement in, guessing Key to the Archive out, Wedding Announcement in, I don't know. I'm not sure how many Reidanes and Thalias I should expect out of my opponent's Naya list. Okay, well, we're going to keep a hand that has Velomachus and Invoke Justice and hope that we get there. Are you worried about getting your Velomachus Brutal Cathard? If I don't win the game instantly, I suppose I am. I don't really want a second Divide by Zero, weirdly, because I already have perfect mana and every card I need. So, like, I just want the opportunity to top deck an interactive 2-drop. Eh, we failed. Alright. If the opponent steals Divide by Zero with Rahilda, they can Divide by Zero our Key to the Archive. Wait, that doesn't matter. Never mind. We cut the Epiphanies to let you win instantly. That's true. So I suppose the answer to that is that I'm not super worried about it. So they did take Divide by Zero, but I'm just probably okay with them dividing by Zero Key to the Archive. I mostly just need it as a discard outlet for Velomachus, if I'm being entirely honest. Haha, Rahilda's not a human opponent. That's cute. My hand, discard Velomachus. That way I don't necessarily have to play the Key to the Archive. Lana. Oh no. Alright, well, time to find out if I can survive the next turn. I probably might not be able to. 4, 8, 10, 13. Nah, I'm dead. Unfortunate. Oh, Nope. Okay, cool. Opponent missed lethal. That's good. Right? Putting 2 counters on that while it was Knight, 4, 10, 13. Yeah. Opponent did miss lethal. Alright. Well. I'm satisfied with that. Unfortunately, I probably still lose here because I don't have any extra turn spells left in the deck now. It's too bad this Demonic Tutor isn't an extra turn spell. Purge does not do it. I lose if I Purge here. Because they just play a creature and give it haste with Helena and Elena. I can hit Emeria's? No, Emeria's Call still also doesn't do it. Yeah, I think I just lose. Alright. Bummer. Yeah, I guess I needed extra turn spells there. Womp womp. Why not take Wrath from the archive? Didn't think about it very much. Also didn't really look at the board and realize the opponent had me dead. So I shouldn't have gotten to untap there to begin with. Okay, so I'm beginning to suspect the opponent actually isn't on Thalia, so I am willing to bring in some A-Alrund's Epiphanies then. In fact, what the heck. I'm just going to gamble that the opponent doesn't have Thalia at all. Son of Psalm, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. These children versions of the avatars are so very strange. Children with knives is a concerning concept. Do I want Faithful Mending? I probably do. I do. I have an A-Alrund's Epiphany I want to loot away. Yeah. I'm with white already, so I can't play that on turn 2. Okay, I love my opponent not doing anything. Retrieve socks. Socks, are you over there? No, you're outside. Okay. We will retrieve socks. Wreck with Stormseeker. Go away. Let's get... I guess let's loot away A-Alrund's Epiphany to begin with. That works. We get to play Eiganjo, we get to play Key to the Archive, we get to loot something. Do I want Regrowth? Not really. Do I want Lightning Helix? Lightning Helix over Fateful Absence does seem like an upgrade at least. Wrath keeps us in it. In the last game? I don't know if it did. Or at least it shouldn't have. Okay, so if we Faithful Mending and hit a Velomachus, perfect. So we get rid of Velomachus and divide by 0. And then we shock. And then we play Invoke Justice on Velomachus. And then we play Velomachus and hit A-Alrund's Epiphany and take an extra turn. And then win the game because I have Lightning Helix, which kills my opponent. Yay! We did it. Opponent didn't have Thalia after all. Oh, alright, I'm gonna go get the kitty cat. Having lands is usually a satisfactory reason to keep a hand. IMO. Yeah, I don't need more lands, though. still under the impression that I don't really care about foretelling A-Alrund's Epiphany very much in this list, since most of the time if I actually draw it, I want to loot it away anyway. Okay, cool. If my opponent doesn't want to do anything, that works for me. I just get to sit here holding up Divide by Zero for their City Stalker Connoisseur, which feels like tempo. Turn 2, play Painful Bond. Turn 3 and 4, pass doing nothing is certainly an option. Cool, Faithful Mending. The opponent is allowed to make all of these decisions. I guess I'm going to hold on to Emeria's Call, because if I make it to 7 mana, it's a 2-for-1. Okay, now what are we doing with 5 mana, opponent? We are playing Bloodthirsty Adversary, and then we are going to kick it. Yeah, you know what? You're allowed to kick it. I don't believe that I can... Yeah, I can't fizzle this by dividing by 0 the Bloodthirsty Adversary. I can, however, make drawing 2 cards completely useless for them. Because they're just going to have to discard 2 cards anyway. So hopefully that loot 2, make all of your expensive spells cause you to lose more life, felt worthwhile to them. Alright, so I have 7 cards, they have 7 cards. I'm going to cast Teachings of the Archaic while I have 6 cards in hand. And then cast Faithful Mending. Wow, this is not useful mendinging. Alright, and we still have 7 cards in hand. It's a good thing our opponent's doing nothing, because we are turbo doing nothing. We're doing nothing extremely fast. Not that we're doing a lot of nothing. Although I guess we are technically doing a lot of nothing? This feels like some interesting philosophical differences. Our opponent has 8 cards in hand and decided they wanted to activate Den of the Bugbear? Really? Really? Okay. I'm not going to say you're not allowed to do that. Do I just want to foretell A-Alrund's Epiphanies? Or do I want to cast 2 Faithful Mending? I'm assuming I probably want to play 2 Faithful Mending when I have Invoke Justice in hand, right? Yeah, probably. I mean, except... Okay, but the problem is they're going to play City Stalker Connoisseur. So if I foretell both A-Alrund's Epiphanies, and go A-Alrund's Epiphany, Emeria's Call, like, yeah, I end up with a bunch of indestructible birds. But is that good enough? I guess then I get to Invoke Justice and make a bunch of big birds? Okay, deck. I believe in you. This isn't correct, most likely, but it is fun. We have untapped blue. Yeah, but like, I can't cast Divide by 0 if all my opponent ever does with their 8 cards is play Den of the Bugbear activations, right? Oh, our opponent doesn't even hate playing spells into counter magic. Our opponent activated Den of the Bugbear, I'm pretty sure, while we were tapped out. If I recall correctly, that was the scenario. Alright, I would like to draw a land now. Cool. Land drops allowed to be made. Look at this mana acceleration! Ah! No! Not a braid. Do you think the opponent's deck plays Meathook Massacre? I kind of suspect it does, which makes me worried about playing this Emeria's Call now. I don't actually think I'm going to play this Emeria's Call now. I think I'm just going to Faithful Mending looking for a Velomachus. Holding up Divide by 0. They discarded a meat hook. In that case, I am willing to believe they have a meat hook in hand. Molten Impact. Oh no, my birdie. Bloodthirsty Adversary on my birdie. Oh, no, just more Molten Impacts. Alright, opponent, you have successfully killed all of my birds. With much effort. Was their hand just 8 removal spells? I think that's extremely likely. Hey, alright, goodbye Velomachus. The beautiful thing here is I even have the ability to play Divide by 0 to protect my Velomachus. Boop, boop. Please don't have 2 mana removal. There's not a lot of 2 mana removal that kills Velomachus though. This deck's fun when it does its thing. So it turns out 8 removal spells is not enough to answer a single dragon. So what do we change? I'm assuming I'm probably playing Wandering Emperor, and like probably not Fateful Absence, and not... I don't know. Who needs Wandering Emperor number 3? Not me, probably. Maybe. I don't know. How aggressive could they possibly be? They're only red-black. That means they just sit around drawing cards and doing nothing. Alright, well, 2 Faithful Mending seems like a hand that I'm not allowed to mulligan. Guess I'm probably supposed to lead on Deserted Beach so that I can turn 2 Faithful Mending. Otherwise I need to name blue with Forsaken Crossroads, which maybe I'm allowed to do that, I guess? I don't want to, but maybe that's allowed? Opponent, if you want to just do nothing, that's cool with me, but I don't think that's supposed to be your plan? It seems like kind of an uncool plan. I guess I just want to hold on to Silundi Vision here. If they don't do anything on turn 4, which they have shown a history of doing, then I want to try to Silundi Vision for a Reanimate spell. Bloodthirsty Adversary. Oh no! Not a 2/2! Opponent mercy! Oh no, I'm down to 20 life. Well, there go a bunch of Velomachuses, and we didn't find a Reanimate, so that's a bummer. Oh well. We'll get him next time. What, we're not going to just animate Den of the Bugbear? For real? Okay. Well, I'm going to try to play this Wandering Emperor to trade with a Bloodthirsty Adversary, but I bet the opponent's going to have a removal spell for that.
Run away. You'll be safer.
But will they have a good removal spell for it?
Let your blade do the talking.
That's the question. No. Oh, okay. So what now? We play City Stalker Connoisseur? Make me discard an A-Alrund's Epiphany? I'm fine with that. I'm not ecstatic about it, but I'm fine with it. No, we're just going to play a 1-for-1 removal spell on Wandering Emperor? Well, I mean, I guess you are allowed to draw 2. Wow.
Back to wandering.
Man, opponent. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, Key to the Archive finds Approach of the Second Sun, I guess? I mean, like... Alright. I do have 2 Faithful Mending in the graveyard, so, like... That is a game plan. Yeah, Divide by Zero is also a loot back to Approach. I'll be sad if they hit me with a discard spell that makes me green mana? Okay. Well, here's my Approach of the Second Sun, opponent. Oh no, Blood Vial Purveyor lets me loot to approach faster. Oh gosh, opponent. You're gonna have to kill me this turn. Can you deal 27 damage this turn, opponent? I guess they don't need to do it this turn. They could do it next turn, too. Alright. 21 damage next turn, opponent. Can you do it? I think if I had drawn an untapped land, we might have been able to win. Probably not, but okay. Why do they have Brambleworm? I assume they needed to board into threats so that they could kill me because they can't beat my combo? Alright, yeah, there's a Bloodthirsty Adversary. Is that going to be capable of doing 21 damage, opponent? I guess they could force me to shuffle? Nope, now they can't force me to shuffle. Well, how much damage is this? Because it only looks like 16 damage, and that's definitely not enough. Alright, well, I'm up 5. Okay, well, I'm gonna loot. Make a blood token. Draw 2. Discard 2. I'm gonna loot away a Divine Purge. I'm gonna loot away a Divide by Zero. Oh, Kazul's Fury would have been cool. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'd be dead to Kazul's Fury. I should have played around that. Oh, hey, cool. Broach. You think the opponent's lost track of whether their approach isn't... Oh, no, it's revealed. Shoot. Dang it! Good times, good times. Considering the amount of cards we drew that weren't Velomachus, I mean, I guess if I hadn't been playing Approach, I would have been, like, dividing by 0 their giant 7 drops, so they would have had to take infinity time to do anything. So it's not like I would have been fine with, or I would have been in trouble without the Approach. But this was certainly a much more interesting way to win.